Okay, now I'm recording and we're gonna do these last couple notes. When I was recording in G period, we got like mostly through number 4. I know we in Alpha finished number 4, but I'm just gonna talk through it again. Is that all right? Let me just kind of talk through what we did. I will kind of unhighlight some of these things so that I have something to touch on and address. Okay. So when we read this problem, basically what was happening is that we have this big balloon penguin. We've got these cables attached to it that are on the ground. I've got one cable that's at a 40-degree angle. I've got one cable that's at a 48-degree angle, and we want to figure out how high off the ground the balloon is. And so what we did is we drew our big green triangle with our 40 degrees and our purple triangle with the 48. We used an X to represent how tall or how far off the ground the penguin was. And we also knew one other thing, that the distance between the cables was 10. We knew that we know the distance between the cables is 10. We had to use a variable to represent the distance from B to G because we weren't sure what that was, because we needed to put that on both of my triangles. BG is 10 in my purple triangle, and then CG is 10 plus D. Sorry, BD is D, not 10. I don't know what I said. The only difference between this and number 7 that we did the other day was that this one you can't just solve one of your triangles and then go from there. We had to do a little bit more work. So I was looking at that purple triangle first, and I said, okay, well, I know that I can do tangent of 48 equals X over D. And then we simplified it to get D times tan of 48 equals X. The reason we did that is so that we could plug that in to my other equation for my X. So I replace X with D tan of 48. My second triangle was tangent of 40 equals X over 10 plus D. And when I replace X in terms of D, then I had just one variable and I was able to solve. We did all this algebra yesterday. I think at the end of class where we left off in G before my recording stopped was maybe right about here. At this point, we had factored a D out of both terms, and then we divided by tan 48 minus tan 40 from both sides. When I do tan 48 minus tan 40, can I make that tan 8? Can I combine that to be tangent of 8? No. So as much as you might want to, because they both have tan in it, they're not like terms. I cannot minus these two numbers together. You have to leave them kind of as two separate things. So then when I went to the calculator, I physically typed 10 tan 40 divided by tan 48 minus tan 40. And I got D was 30.9. Then I plugged that 30.9 in for my D up at the top. So instead of saying D times tan 48, I now have 30.9 times tan 48. And then you can plug that into the calculator. I think there's a problem like number 4 or like number 7 on your homework. So make sure that you attempt that and put some effort into that so we can fix it next class. Or if you spend some time working on it now, we can go over it before you guys even leave for your trip, okay? Okay, we've got 2 more problems. I actually want to skip down to do number 6 first, and then we'll go do number 5. These are a little bit easier. They're just one triangle, not 2 triangles. So it says find the angle or the angle of depression from the top of the lighthouse is 120 feet above the surface of the water to a buoy is 10 degrees. How far is the buoy from the lighthouse? Okay, so I'm going to draw my triangle. Such a bad triangle, it won't recognize it. Be better. Nope, okay. There we go. All right, I've got my right angle. Here's the top of the lighthouse, here's the buoy, and then here's the bottom of the lighthouse. We know that the lighthouse is 120 feet, and we know the angle of depression is 10 degrees. So that's like if I had my little line of sight up here and I've got 10 degrees. I also can put 10 degrees down here as my angle of elevation. We want to know how far away we are from the lighthouse, so I'm going to represent this side as X. Is everybody okay with that so far? Nothing's too crazy yet. Which trig function am I going to use? Tan, good. I feel like I said the other day, we use tangent a lot, so don't be shocked when we do use tangent, opposite, adjacent. So we are gonna say tangent of 10 equals 120 plus u over x. What I will tell you, make sure that you're in degrees in your calculator. I am gonna multiply by x to get rid of that from both sides, and then I will divide by tan 10. 680, yes, 6.55. Good, thank you, Diane. Do I need to show this calculator part on the board? No, okay.
Wait, Miss White, with the degrees or radians, what is that for the cracking again?
Mode.
Oh, okay.
And with these word problems, we're gonna be strictly in degrees. Mode is if like I give you like tan of 2 pi or something like that, you can use your degrees or radians for that. So we're gonna say in degrees, I hit mode and then you second mode to quit, and then 120 divided by tan 10. Good. Okay, the last example. This is kind of fun because Abby and Hunter, we saw this in Rome. The example is talking about this Arch of Septimus Severus, which I don't know anything, but I know we saw that. And I think that's kind of funny that the little math example is a little cross curriculum. We'll have to tell Mr. Gross or Miss Adams and Ms. Strike and let them know that we're talking about this in math. So this problem, it doesn't really matter what it is, but I thought it was kind of fun that we've seen it. It says from a point 100 feet from its base, the angle of elevation to the top of the Arch of Septimus Severus in Rome, Italy is 34 degrees, 13 minutes and 12 seconds. How tall is this monument? The only hard part about this is I need to make sure that I get this degrees, minutes, seconds into just decimal degrees. So you need to take your minutes and make them a decimal. You need to take your seconds and make them decimal. So I'm going to start by doing that. How do I make my 13 minutes into degrees?
13 degrees.
Good. Divide by 60. I'm gonna divide by 60. And you can just simply do a division. You don't have to set up a little like railroad method like I do. I just think it's helpful. And then how do I get 12 seconds into degrees? Good. 3,600. We divide by that. So 12 divided by 3,600. 0.0033. Then we remember that we add those together. So it'll be 34 point whatever those added together are, 0.2167 plus 0.0033, 0.22. So that is going to be my degree as my angle of elevation when I draw my picture. So that was the only thing that was a little bit difficult. Now we're going to do everything else the same as what we have been doing. So I'm going to draw my triangle. I'm going to put my angle that I just found, that 34.22, down as my angle of elevation. We know that the point is 100 feet from the base of the arch. So I put P as like kind of my far corner. I put 100. By the right angle, I put a B to remind myself that's the base. And then the top, I wrote an A for the arch. And it says, how tall is this monument? I'm going to put an X because I don't know how tall it is. Which trig function do we use here? Tan, awesome. Tan of 34.22 equals X over 100. Oh, and this is actually a pretty easy one. All we do is multiply by 100 to solve this. And so 100 tan 34.22 equals X.
8.0.
Awesome. I think that's in feet. Okay, so really, I think all of it was really pretty simple except for numbers 4 and 7. So all we have to do for the rest of class is work on our 4.8 homework. Does anybody have any questions going into that?
Wait, did you do quickly?
Nope, we're not gonna do number 3. Mhm. I will not ask you like a bearing course kind of question on the test, so I just think I want you to really know the ones that we talked about. Okay. So now we have finished all of our notes. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, let me turn off the recording.